What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we are going to be doing a tier list review on all of the dog training tools as a professional dog trainer. I'm going to be showing you what to get and what to steer clear of as you are going through your life with your dog. We'll see you in the video. The first training tool we are going to talk about is a place board. Place boards are an amazing tool that we use all the time in the house, outside of the house, wherever we go. It helps especially to teach a dog stay because it's very clear whether a dog is on or off the place board. So we're gonna put a place board in the A tier. Get a place board if you don't have one. They are really helpful tools to teach your dog basic commands. We start off all dogs on a place board when we are teaching them their basic commands, and then we can expand off the place board. But it's a great place for your dog to hang out at, and your dog will stay there no matter what. If you condition it properly, you're cooking in the kitchen, you're doing this, you're doing that, your dog's job is to go to their place board. That is an A tier item. The next tool we're going to be talking about is an impact dog crate, or a dog crate in general. I love impact dog crates. Those are the only crates that I carry, but impact dog crates, we are also putting that in A tier. All dogs should be crate trained. If your dog is not crate trained, I guarantee you, you will run into an issue down the road where your dog needs to be in a crate and they are not crate trained, and it's going to be an extremely stressful environment for your dog. If you crate train your dog early on, as soon as possible, your dog's crate will become their home, where they want to live, where they hang out at, and your dog will be a lot happier because they don't have the anxiety of having so many things to do, right? They only have one specific task, and that is just to do nothing in their crate and hang out. We feed our dogs in our crate, they sleep in their crate, and especially as a puppy, it is a safety issue. Puppies, as you may know, will get into cords and, dangerous stuff that they should not be eating and chewing, and putting our dog in our crate gives them a much safer environment. So crate training is awesome. Impact dog crates, it's the only crates I have, but get your dog a crate and get them crate trained, so one day when you have to go out of town, you know that you can send your dog to a boarding facility and your dog is not going to be freaking out because they've never been in a crate before. Sorry to interrupt your video. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about these bad boys, impact dog crates. I train a ton of dogs, and I have a ton of dogs in crates. A crate should be your dog's safe space, and impact crate does that. They are made of high-grade aluminum, made in America. They are really easy to move around. Your crate is essentially your dog's home, so why not go a little bit above and beyond and get your dog a very nice home? At checkout, use code Ethan10 or use the link in the description below to get your impact crate today. Now back to your video. The next tool we're going to be talking about is a ball. Balls are amazing for dogs to play with. Some dogs love balls, some dogs don't love balls, and some dogs don't have balls. Balls are awesome for structured play to really keep your dog stimulated and active, as well as looking at you. So we're going to put a ball. It's a B tier item. Some dogs more of a tug toy kind of dog or a frisbee, but if your dog's a ball dog, well, you got to get your dog a ball. Balls are an amazing training tool throughout all of training. Instead of using treats, we oftentimes use toys such as balls to... All right, all jokes aside, balls are an amazing tool for your dog to keep the structured play going and have your dog always paying attention to you for rewards. Throw the treats out, just use balls. So that's oftentimes what you can do. The next tool we're going to be talking about is kibble. Kibble is very underrated. A lot of people hate kibble, and there are a lot of brands out there that we probably shouldn't use. There are some brands where it's so processed, it's like your dog eating McDonald's every day, and of course your dog is going to get grumpy and fat and probably not live a happy life. But if you find good kibble, high quality, real food, it might make your dog a lot happier. And also using kibble for your dog's training. People oftentimes have a highly food motivated dog, and then they whip out a bag of heavy calorie dense treats and give their dog these treats. Why don't you just use your dog's kibble? Your dog will start working for their food during mealtime. We're gonna give our dog some kibble, so we are going to put kibble into a B tier. Kibble is an amazing, amazing thing to use throughout all of training, throughout your dog's entire life. If your dog is at least somewhat food motivated, throw all the other treats out, just use their kibble. Have your dog work for their food. Kibble's an amazing tool. The next tool we're talking about is an Amazon slip lead. I am a huge proponent of slip leads. Slip leads really help make our communication as clear as possible with our dog. But the issue with Amazon slip leads is I have tried all of them, at least all of them in my area, and they all suck. They are either too stretchy, or they are too thick, or the spring-loaded stopper is, well, the stopper is not spring-loaded and it is flimsy and it moves up and down and doesn't stay high and snug on your dog's neck. So I'm going to put any random Amazon slip lead that is a D tier, D as in dog. You know, if you're gonna get a slip lead, I'd highly recommend you get a good, solid, quality slip lead. There's a night and day difference between a good slip lead and a cheap Amazon slip lead that, you know, might not work as well. The whole point of a slip lead is it's not to tie a noose around your dog's neck and choke them. The point of a slip lead is the slip lead allows you to keep the slip lead high and snug around their neck, and the only motion is the pop. It is the pressure of the slip lead. It is not the tightening of the slip lead. So Amazon slip leads, they're going right in the D tier. And that brings us right to the next tool, which is our NCA slip lead, available in 4 and 6 foot options. We have spent a ton of time developing and manufacturing our NCA slip lead to fit all of the requirements we need. I went and bought all these Amazon slip leads, found out what was not working for all of them, and we put them all together and made the best possible slip lead possible. We are putting our NCA slip lead in the S tier. It is an amazing tool for about 85 to 90% of dogs to communicate on walks, stop leash pulling, build engagement with loose leash walking, and teach a heel. We do that all with our NCA slip lead. It works with tons of dogs. It's an S tier product. The next tool we're gonna be talking about is a Herm Springer prong collar, or really any prong collar in general, but if you're buying a prong collar, it has to be a Herm Springer prong collar. They're better. This is a C tier item, only because I don't recommend most people use a prong collar. You have to have a lot of training and a lot of experience to use a prong collar properly. It is very easy to overcorrect a dog with a prong collar, as opposed to something like a slip lead or a flat collar, or, you know, whatever else you're using. But if used properly, they can be an amazing tool. I'll give you a little example. Prong collars, you can give a dog a correction, the dog's perception level. I'll put a graph on the screen as I'm talking about this. The perception level, you can give between a 1 and a 10. With a slip lead, it's probably about, you know, between a 1 and a 5. A 1 being just the slightest little pop, and a 5 being using a lot of pressure. The prong collar, 1 to 10. Flat collar, maybe, you know, 1 to 3. That's the range of pressure you can give your dog, and a harness is like a 1. And so with a prong collar, if you need to give your dog a correction, you know, say a level 4, it's very easy to overcorrect and give your dog a level 8 or a 9 and scare the living bejesus out of your dog. That's why we are putting it in the C tier, but if you use a prong collar properly, it is an amazing tool for training. I use it on most dogs for the reason that we can just be very, very clear with our communication with our dog. What's right, what's wrong. They're difficult to use, but if you know how to do it, they're an amazing tool. The next tool is a retractable leash. Where do I start with this one? I see all the time dog owners walking around with their dogs who are pulling on a leash all over the place, and oftentimes they have a retractable leash. How unfair is it to your dog to sometimes give them 30 feet and sometimes give them 2 feet? The rules of the game are not clear to your dog, and that is why they are probably anxious and pulling and filled with frustration. What I would much rather do is teach a dog, when you're walking with me, then we do off-leash work later on, but walk should be structured, you paying attention to me. It's kind of a cheat way to let your dog run around a little bit, but it really just gives your dog, you know, gets your dog into bad behaviors. The only reason this is not going in an F tier is because I sometimes do use retractable leashes when we are training recall. We have all the obedience down, we then put a retractable leash on our dog, and we can work on recall from that distance. We use it for, you know, sometimes 1 or 2 training sessions with some dogs, not all dogs, but that is the only time you should ever use a retractable leash. If you have one and you're not using for that, throw it in the trash and get yourself a better leash. The next tool we're gonna be talking about is the one and only Glizzies. Glizzies are an amazing tool. They are goated, they are effective. If your dog is in the least bit picky, well, we use Glizzies. They are cheap, they are affordable, they are easy to get. You can get them anywhere. You can go to Costco or BJ's or a big store and buy a big ton of them, as I do, because I work with a ton of dogs. But hot dogs are really easy to use. Cut them up into small pieces and use them as high value treats, especially at the beginning of training. We don't want to be constantly feeding our dog Glizzies throughout their whole life, but at the beginning of training, when we're shaping behaviors, we are going to use Glizzies, and that is why they are going into the S tier. Glizzies are an amazing thing to use throughout training. I use them nearly every day. The one downside to Glizzies is I used to love hot dogs, but I've started to really hate eating hot dogs just from the feeling of warm, wet Glizzies that are chopped up, feeding them into dogs' slobbery mouths. Kind of irks me the wrong way, but that's neither here nor there. Glizzies are an amazing tool to use for your dog, maybe not for you. The next tool we're gonna be talking about is gentle leaders. Gentle leaders are a hot topic these days. A lot of people use them, a lot of people don't. A lot of people love them, a lot of people hate them. Well, a gentle leader, it does not teach your dog anything. All it does is put a band-aid on the issue of your dog pulling. When we use a gentle leader, all we are doing is cranking our dog's neck back, their whole head, every time they pull. And they are not learning anything. It might make your dog's pulling better, but I guarantee you, if you put a gentle leader on your dog for whether it's a week or years and years, you put another tool on your dog and they will be at the end of the leash pulling. That is why gentle leaders do not really have a place in dog training, and they are going into the F tier. We do not use gentle leaders. I highly discourage you from using gentle leaders. Won't teach your dog anything. You're just putting a band-aid over the issue. Teach your dog with a prong collar or a slip lead or even a flat lead how to loose leash walk. Then we can throw that tool out and just build our relationship throughout the rest of training. The next item we're going to be talking about is milk bones. Milk bones are a little bit of a sneaky one. I like milk bones, but they're not good for actual physical training, giving your dog a lot of small amounts, right? They're usually larger, and they do make smaller ones, but smaller ones are still hard to chew. It takes your dog a couple seconds to chew them. It just takes a long time. I don't really have a place for them in my life, working with tons and tons of dogs, hundreds of dogs. I don't really use milk bones. Maybe a good environment would be when you're leaving the house, give your dog a milk bone when they're going in their crate. But that's really the only one I can think of. So these milk bones, we are going to put them in the C tier. You know, you can use milk bones, but if you're working on training, I would use either your dog's kibble or hot dogs, depending on your situation. You don't need milk bones. They're not really a necessity for really anyone. The next tool we're going to talk about, and it's going to be hard for me to get this one out, but it is harnesses. If you've seen any of my videos, you know I hate harnesses. I've worked with so many dog owners who 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trainers have told them use harness, it will stop your dog from pulling. What a harness does is it spreads the pressure of your leash across the dog's strongest part of their body, their chest and their legs, which encourages pulling. It makes pulling comfortable. There's a reason that sled dogs in the Arctic, which are literally what they do for a living is pull. There's a reason that they are on harnesses. We hate harnesses. Harnesses are going in the F tier. If you walk around in your day-to-day life, look at all the dogs that are pulling and lunging and all over the place. I guarantee you the vast majority of them are wearing harnesses, and there is a reason for that. Get rid of your harness, and again, use a better tool like a flat collar, a slip lead, or a prong collar to teach your dog, hey, we don't pull on a leash. Give them that clarity of what's right, what's wrong, what do we do, what do we not do. Your dog's gonna be a lot happier, and your dog is going to be a lot more clear in their life. All right, getting into the next tool, a tug toy. Tug toys are amazing. They are an awesome tool to use, especially with more high-strung, high-driven dogs. Playing tug is a great outlet for your dog. Bringing a tug toy, different places you go, and using that as a reward for a more high-strung or working line dog will change your life. Tug toys are going into the A tier. Tug toys, I use them not daily, but with some certain dogs, I use them daily because they are such an awesome tool to use. Give your dog an outlet. Oftentimes, more high-strung dogs have issues like reactivity or, sometimes even anxiety, aggression, whatever it may be, and using a tug toy to give them the outlet to release their energy with us, through us as the owner, will change a dog's life. That's why they're going in the A tier. The last tool we're going to be talking about is the combination of flat collar and just a standard leash. This is the standard option that most people should use. What I do with most dogs is we use either a slip lead or a prong at the beginning of training, and then we switch them back over to their normal flat collar, and they're on their flat collar for the rest of their life. I think they look great. They look significantly better than people who put a ton of crap on their dogs' harnesses, and it is a great tool for a dog that understands leash pressure to be able to communicate to them with. You don't have to go overboard with it, but my dogs, once they are trained, they are put on flat collars. Both of my own personal dogs, they are on flat collars. They were both on prong collars and slip leads when they were younger at the beginning of training, but they're both on flat collars with a general standard leash. We do have an NCA normal leash, regular leash if you want it. It's an awesome tool for you. American flag colored, but I am going to put the combination of a flat collar and a standard leash in the A tier because they should be used way more than they are. Not enough people use them. People have all this information about how harnesses stop pulling and their dog keeps pulling. I see it all the time. If your dog doesn't have any issues, put them on just a normal flat collar and they will be a lot happier. It will be awesome. If you enjoyed the video, well, I'd love to hear it below. This is a little bit of a different one. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. If any of these surprised you, I'd love to hear it. Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one.